Joining the Tech Spotlight webinar today. Thanks for joining today. My name is Marcy Dell, and I am the founder and product designer for KiwiWrite Math. I'm also a parent entrepreneur, and I created this product in response to the need for more tools to support students who have a challenge with the handwriting aspect of math. Just to give a quick preview at the beginning of the look of KiwiWrite, KiwiWrite has a main screen that it has 4 different math levels, as we call it. Each math level is just a different set of math symbol keys to customize for different age levels. We do it this way so students can have just the math symbols they need without extra visual clutter or complexity. The students who may be the best fit for students for KiwiWrite include students that have both physical disabilities or different learning challenges that might affect their ability to write math. It's particularly suitable for students with dysgraphia. My own daughter has dysgraphia, so I have a lot of background in that. It's also suitable for students who have physical struggles with handwriting, but can use a mouse or touch screen, and also eye gaze users. I'd like to mention a little bit about the design goals of KiwiWrite, just kind of as a background of the product. One goal is to provide a learning experience which is as similar to math, as similar to handwriting as possible, but still eliminates the handwriting itself. So Kiwi provides enough automation to be easy to use, but it still leaves the student with the task of learning and understanding where the different math symbols go within equations, since that's part of learning math. Our design is also planned to be easy to visually process, minimizing visual clutter, and whenever possible, Kiwi uses single clicks or tap interactions to make physically using it easier. And then I'm going to be doing a demo in a moment. I want to tell you about free trials first, just to make sure you know that you can go to our website at KiwiWrite.com and sign up for a free trial there. We also provide free educator subscriptions to ATs and other special ed staff who evaluate and support students. So you can just create a free trial there and then send a request to support at KiwiWrite.com, and we will get you set up for that. So I am going to go to the app now and start the demo. So I'm going to log on. This is our app page at go.kiwiwrite.com. The information website links here, but go.kiwiwrite.com is actually, if you're just signing on to the site, is best to use to skip our marketing information and such. Sometimes my internet's a little slow when I'm running Zoom too. So that opened into a page that was, I'm realizing I have to move some Zoom screens here. A page that was the work I had worked on before. KiwiWrite will automatically display what was done last to try to make it easy for the student. If they don't want that work, they can just click on the new file to create a blank page. If it had been the first time you used KiwiWrite, it would have instead given you a welcome screen and asked you to set the math level. You can always change the math level by going over to the profile icon and going to the set math level, which I will do later. So this level is level 2. Level 1 is very similar, but there aren't multiplication division signs. And it's one of our grid problem levels. If you look here, everything is lined up with a little grid around it. So to create problems anywhere in KiwiWrite, a core concept is that each problem has its space. You need to create each problem, and you do so by either just clicking on the display area, or there's this new problem button here, which will create a problem right below the other one. So problems can be dragged to move them, and they can also be resized by using these font increment and decrement ones. The little L-shaped cursor here will show wherever the Kiwi is going to put the next math symbol. So you can edit problems by just placing that within it, and then if you type, then the program will adjust the layout of the problem. So let me go on to do some addition and subtraction problems that are vertical. So just to start with a basic one, I'm going to press new line. And now I'm going to press this line segment key here, which will draw one across the bottom. And Kiwi guesses the right length of line. If it's wrong, you can adjust the line by dragging these little endpoints here. So, that's a basic one, but let me go on. What if instead we had wanted to add, say, 10? For adding 10, you want the plus to be in a space that's to the left of where the current problem is. Well, that's easy to do. You just have to move the cursor to the spot that you want, and KiwiWrite will automatically grow the little grid behind it. So I did that by using the arrow keys. I could have also clicked the on-screen arrow keys. And then there is also another way of doing that, in that you can also click immediately next to the problem, like right here. That will also create a grid there. Like for example, if I clicked on the top here, it would create an extra line. I'll give a little hint though. If a student accidentally creates lots of extra rows and there's a bunch of empty spaces, if you click on another problem and then back, then Kiwi will trim that space out. Now let's look at this subtraction problem. This is a problem that needs regrouping. And so we have a special key for that over here to use this regrouping key and cross off. I need to, make sure that the cursor is in the position that I want, and then click here, and it crosses that off and draws a tiny little box in the corner. I'm not sure if that's really visible on Zoom or not, but it indicates that the next up to 2 digits will go into those spaces. So up to now, I've been just working on a blank scratch paper, but a lot of use of KiwiWrite is working on top of an imported file instead. So I'm going to move on to showing you that. When a student wants to create a new page of any type, they come up to the new file icon and the choice of having a blank space or importing a PDF, JPEG, or PNG file. And I'm going to drag and drop. You can also click in here, and that will open up a open file window, which is standard for the device that you are on. If you're on a Chromebook, you'll be able to get to Google Drive files here, and an iPad will be similar. But I'm on a Windows laptop, so I'm going to drag and drop. And what that did was it just took a picture of what was in that PDF and is displaying it in the background. Now, this is just a picture. We're not a PDF editor. We just import and export PDFs, so you cannot manipulate these. But it's, just think of it as, if you had a pencil and you were writing on top of a worksheet. This has the bonus, though, that you can zoom in over here with the display zoom icons to make a little more space. So I'm going to use this worksheet to show how to use the grid type problem fraction key. There will be a different type of fraction key that I'll show you for higher level math. But this one is just allows simple fractions up to 3 digits long. and you just click it and it will have the numerator highlighted. So numerator and then enter or new line or down arrow all work. And then you click that again to get to the next space. If you want to later edit this, then you need to put the cursor there, and then if you click on the top or the bottom, it will re-highlight those areas, so then you can put in something else. Something else you can do in KiwiWrite is add text. If you just type on the keyboard, you will get letters, but they will not be spaced as text. Some students that might be good enough for some uses, but we do suggest use of the ABC key when you want to enter text. When you click ABC, then it will give you a little text box, and you can enter text. After you're done with text, you do need to click the ABC key again. If you click on one of the keys, you're going to get a little error message there reminding them. And these problems themselves, they're a different type of problem, so they can also be, resized and moved around. One thing about ABC is on an iPad, though, iPads function a little bit differently. Instead, you will get a text dialog box that you enter the whole ABC text in and then say OK. That's in order to get the iPad alphanumeric keyboard up. Plus, we're going to actually, one of our little new features is that we're going to have a user preference option to change it so that you can have that text dialog box for any device. The reason you might do that is that you can use a third-party voice dictation in the text dialog style, but not this style. So if you have a student that's used to, say, using the voice dictation of read and write, and you want them to be able to do that, then you'll be able to soon select that option so that they get a style that will be compatible with. So anyway, but I'm going to move on to the the file operations now. I'm going to declare this worksheet done, even though I have one wrong answer done. I'm going to first rename the file by clicking in the name over in the corner, and that will bring up a little rename box. And then I'm going to save the file. We do some automatic saving, but it's just once every couple minutes, so it's kind of as a backup. So you should be telling students that you need to click save when you are done. And then a student does need to print or export to get their work. We will soon have another option with Google integration, but for people not using that or for the moment, you do need to download the PDF to get work out to turn in. And when you do that, that will go wherever the standard download position for your specific device is. Chromebooks have a setting in Chrome, up in the Chrome spot there, that you can configure that to be a Google Drive if you want. And iPads will give a whole tab of all kinds of different iPad options, including local folders and Google folders and emailing and all kinds of other things that that the iPads tend to do. So the last file action here is the open file command. Now, younger students may not need to ever use that since we automatically display work for them. But if you do want to find an older file that you used, or maybe somehow that doesn't come in, this is how you find a prior file. Everything that you do on KiwiWrite's being saved to our web host, so all those files are in here. We have a kind of a simplistic folder system here. We have a trash folder, we have a not done folder, and a done folder. So everything new that's created goes into the not done folder automatically, and then students have a choice of moving things into the done folder if they want to use that to, organize and separate out what's finished versus not finished. There is a user preference option which will print a little dialogue after an export to prompt them with that question, which can be turned on or off. But within this, if you just want to open a file, then you just click on the file and then click open. And now we were back to the file that we were working in earlier. I think that is it about the file commands. This trash icon will throw out whatever is on the screen currently. I'm going to move on to the higher levels here. Just check my time. Oh no, I did not set my timer. Well, okay. They told me that if I ran a few minutes over, it would be okay. So I had meant to have a timer on that.
So we have a few questions. Do you want to field them now, or do you
sure.
wait?
Yeah, I don't have anyone watching the chat. I can't. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to
No,
do math
that's
and
okay.
chat. So that'd be great if
Okay. One is there a teacher view and a student view?
No, there's not. There's only the student view. So you do have to be in the student account to see it. We are, a little bitty company and a newer product. So, a teacher account type is something that, we hope to add sometime in the future, but it's not in the current, the current works that we're doing. There's an administrator account also, but that only is used to display an access code. Teachers would have to log on to the same account in order to get into this account.
Okay, and the next one is, could a teacher make a notebook with pre-made problems with visuals?
I guess I'm not complete. Maybe I could get some clarification. The student, if you created PDF files, then the student can import those files. And as I said, we're going to be soon adding Google Classroom. So if they put those files on their Google Drive, they could access them. Right. Maybe you mean we also have another feature that's coming up that we are going to be able to, when you open a file, or actually when you export a file, there will be a choice. Oh, I just clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. Of export into KiW native format, and that will create a file which no other program can open, but you can send to someone else, and then when they open it, it will be in the live KiwiWrite internal format, which can be edited. So perhaps that's might be what they might have been alluding to. That's in the works currently also.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Another question is, if I want to put a worksheet in for a class, do I need to go into each student's account to add it?
As I said, at the moment, there isn't any kind of teacher account, so there isn't a way of, entering things into student accounts other than that student opening it. If they have Google Classroom available, we're going to be releasing that just a few weeks. Then if they can send that as a Google Classroom assignment, then the student in Google Classroom will be able to use the open with option in order to open those files. So you would be able to send a group of files to a group of students in that way.
Okay. And someone else is just saying, could you just email it to the students? I would think that would be the same thing.
I mean, if you email, we don't open email directly, but obviously if they open the email, they can, save it to their local system and then, import it
Right.
that way.
Okay. That's it for the questions now.
Okay, no, that's great. And actually, it's good to answer the questions before I, move into the other level. So I'm sorry, someone that sometimes helps me watch the chat is on vacation this week. So actually in Egypt at this moment. So
Oh, nice.
they weren't able they had, had something they'd planned the year before. So okay, so I'm going to move on to the upper level here. I'm going to click set math level here. And then I'm going to change to level 4. And you can see this has, lots of different symbols here. We have, all the trig variety symbols within the option. Again, I'm pressing and holding down for a second in order to get these pop-ups to show up. We have logs, we have actually up through calculus with summation and symbols there, and a variety of different symbols. There's actually 100 symbols, within the various pop-ups available. But when looking at this, I want to point out that this is a slightly different format. It's not on a grid. There's not that vertical alignment. Oh, my kitty has decided to be noisy, wants to join in. And uh, um, and that's just the format of math at this style. The symbols are all different widths and types, and it's just the way people do math at this level. So it's otherwise, it's still in a problem. It's still, everything still, works the same. But the important thing to kind of understand how to do on this level is to be able to use these fractions and exponents and these keys with the little a's and b's. All those symbols are ones that they need the user to add a little bit extra information for KiwiWrite. So I'm just going to demonstrate, starting with the square root. I'm going to click the square root and then enter a number. So at this point, Kiwi has to be told that the student is done entering numbers under the square root and wants to go outside of it. Every math program that exists has this issue. So for KiwiWrite, there's 2 ways of doing this. We have this little green button that is the go on to the next area button that students can click to do that. Or another alternative is that the screen enter key acts as a shortcut, which may be more familiar to some students. A exponent works in a similar way. So I put in the number and then the exponent sign and then the exponent, and then green for that. Fractions work in a similar way, except they're just 2 parts. So I would enter 1, and then green or enter, or 2, green enter. You may be thinking, oh, this looks so slow. Well, remember that students at this age would probably be typing, or touch screens also work really well with KiwiWrite. But I wanted to show you kind of an example of what it would look like if you were typing. In addition to the regular keys, we do have some shortcut keys, which if you were doing, a lot of one type of math problem would make typing quicker. You can find a set of the shortcuts up in the help menu over there. So I'm just going to type here, and I'm going to use the Alt F, which is the shortcut for fraction. So I'm going to type plus Alt F 1, enter 3, enter equals, and then I'm going to come up here and use a tool here, which is a duplicate line tool. And that will make a duplicate of this line so I can just edit what I wrote before to reduce the amount I have to write. And then I'm going to go times Alt F, 3 enter, And let me show you that you can use arrow keys also to move through, like to step through all the parts of an equation. Times Alt F to enter, to enter. And I'm not going to finish that, but just as an example of typing. And then one final point on fractions and all these more advanced symbols is that you're not limited to just simple digits. You can, create complex equations that have, numbers and fractions nested inside of square roots and exponents and whatever symbols inside of each other you need. You just keep pressing the green key or enter to get to the end. You don't really have to keep track of where anything is. The program will do that for you. And then if you want to edit that afterwards, then the layout will automatically rearrange for you when you're adding those symbols. So I want to, show you a couple of examples now. So here's an example of, some higher math in calculus. And then here is a worksheet that's in level 3. It switched to level 3 since that's where the how the worksheet was opened originally. So level 3 is our middle school level. You see it has the fractions, exponents, and square roots, but not all those trig signs and such as that. It's really probably our most popular level. Level 3 is unique in that it's the only place where you can add both the line style program of a problem that I was using in level 4 and also the grid style here. And this is algebra. Sometimes the grid style is even useful for algebra. So, beginning algebra is actually probably best in level 3 compared to level 4. The way you switch between the different problems, you can see that the keys kind of chose here. Switch showed the keys that are relevant to that level. The level will always open into the default line format here. But then if you click the grid problem key, and you can just click where you want that, then it will switch formats to the line format. And it will stay in the format that was selected until such time that you click the other type of problem. And I think I'm just going to mention briefly a few user preferences options. User preferences a student usually wouldn't set. You would probably set that for them. The font size is what determines when you open each new file what size the font is. So if you're doing touch, definitely you want large. But if you had an older student, you might want a a smaller size on that. And I want to point out that this font spacing, we added this more compressed font for if you're working on certain types of worksheets and you want KiwiWrite to be more similar to what the font is printed there, then it's sometimes better to switch to that smaller spaces. And we have a few options to add some colors and things. And in here, if you do have an eye gaze student, then you need this enable double click option set, and we're going to be adding a few more options in that area soon. So I think I'm going to go on to talk about the new features. Are there questions anyone had for the upper levels, or before I go on to that?
There is just one question. Do you have a tutorial?
Yes. There is in the help menu, there is a link to our tutorial page, which which you can also look at the website, which is at KiwiWrite.com. And there is a general tutorial there. We have a bunch of little short videos for special topics. We have a big long instruction guide that's kind of written, for adults with a list of, everything in the world. And then also within the app itself, there's also just the quick guide is just kind of like a 2-sheet listing of them. And then there's also the first time you run it, there will be this little kind of tour that, says in words the basic kinds of the commands that are the main ones to use. And, I'm also, for schools, I'm also happy to, run demos for them if they, if that helps their staff too.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a couple of other questions that just
Okay.
popped up.
Okay, great.
Is this a one-time purchase or is it a yearly subscription?
Yeah, it is a yearly subscription.
Okay.
But
What's the cost?
but we will, but we do have free trials, and we also will work with schools if they need longer pilots to determine that.
The next one is accessing the program is by web browser, correct? So
Yes.
so use it on an iPad with Safari browser would be fine, correct?
Right, yeah. When I'm talking about using an iPad, I am talking about in the Safari browser. We don't have a native app for iPad. So, it works in a browser in Chromebooks, laptops, desktops, and iPads. We do have a minimum screen size, so you cannot use it on phones. It will just say not support if you try to open it on some tiny little device of that sort.
Okay. And would this program meet student data privacy regulations?
Yes, we have we follow the rules. We also have signed various contracts in different states. We're located in Illinois, so we have SOPA there. We've been vetted by New York Public Schools, so have signed their contracts. We just did one to get into the California one. So, anyone that we have some others. So if there's any type of, data privacy law that your state has, just contact us if you, if you have questions about it. You can see our privacy. If you want to look at our, privacy policy, you can see it here at the bottom of our website. And it's also linked when you actually sign on to create a new account.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and so let me, I'm going to go back to my deck and talk about some of the new features that are coming up. Let's see. Yeah, I've been mentioning that we've been working on the Google integration. We had been getting feedback that just the logistics of getting the files, to the student was one of the things that were a little more challenging that people were running into. So we're working on, things to help that. And let me show you. I have, it's not quite done. It's close, but I do have a little pre-recorded video here. So in Google Classroom, if a student has an assignment that's a PDF, they will be able to use that Open With tab to open it in KiwiWrite, assuming they've installed everything that's necessary. And then it will open direct into KiwiWrite, and there will be a turn-in button if the teacher sent the assignment in the category 3, make a copy for each student. If they send it as category 1 or 2, there will not be a turn in button. So, the best way to use it is with option 3. I do want to emphasize that we are not syncing with Google. As mentioned before, we're not a PDF editor internally. We're copying PDFs in and out. The student does need to click turn in or click save to save the work. If they don't have a turn in button, say they just open it from a Google Drive or it got sent to them a different way, then if they click the normal Kiwi save button, then that will save to both the Kiwi host and to their Google file. And then we get back to this slide. In order to be able to use that Google Classroom integration, it does need to be permission to, KiwiWrite has to get permission to access those Google files. And there will be 3 ways of doing that. We will have an add-on in the Google Workspace Marketplace. There will be a button in Preferences, and then the new file icon will also have a 3rd Open Google Drive button, and if you click that and you don't have the permissions yet, it will pop up a question there. And then the next new feature is a one to help students with the problem of worksheets not having enough white space to fit their work. Something that I hear a lot about or ran into a lot. This one will allow, I'm just going to show you how it works. To access this feature, you click the 3 little dots there, which is the edit menu to bring up our other editing items, and that's the option there. I realized I forgot to say that this one here is the delete whole problem button, and it's useful. But anyway, if you're selecting the white space option, it's going to make the screen a little dark, and then the student drags an area, or they can also double click 2 times, and they can pick some space that's the width of the page, and then that will get inserted. The program will basically split the background image in 2 and move the second one down and move any other problems that are below down. So we're hoping that will help in some situations with that issue. And then let's see. And then the last feature that will be a little bit later that we're working on is that we're adding a simple draw tool. Oops, I just clicked the wrong thing. And we're not trying to be a draw tool in itself, but often worksheets have a variety of problems. So a student that's doing equations, there might be, a couple things. They might need to draw an angle or circle something or something of that sort. So we're just trying to give them means for that. Our draw tool will let them draw, points, lines, freehand, simple shapes, have an eraser. Our lines will have special endpoints that are oriented towards math. And we'll have some color and line thickness choices, and we'll also have a choice between the regular drawing and a highlighting colors, so that they can also use the freehand or lines to highlight if they want. And then last thing is that along with this, there will be a new problem type for graphs. We are not going to graph for them. What we do is we're going to give them a choice of the 3 types of axes, and then we will draw the axis for them in a special new type of problem, and then they can use the draw tool to draw lines and points on top of that in order to do graph type problems. So I think that is it for me. Let's see. Yeah, I think those are things I just have on the slide. So anyway, thank you so much for coming and listening. Are there any final questions? on any of that?
It doesn't look like there's any more questions. If anyone has any questions, now is your time to ask. I will give you a few seconds to type something in the chat. Otherwise, we will end it. And thank you, Marcia, for your time. This
Yeah,
has
it was
been
great. Thank you.
wonderful.
Right.
Yeah, Marcia?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Shelley Haven. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Um, anyway, I just wanted to say I really appreciate, because as you know, I've worked with KiwiWrite and talked with you about it before, I just really appreciate your attention to the user interface issues and trying to, as you said in the very beginning, to try to align this as closely as possible with how a student would do this if they were handwriting. And yeah, I know that trying to do that is very difficult, and other math programs have done their best too, but I just want to let you know I really appreciate how you have approached the design aspects of this.
Right. Well, I do really appreciate that. I mean, sometimes we do run into things like, people are wishing, well, can I use my screen reader to have it read all the math in the KiwiWrite? Well, no, because we're a picture. The part that draws it, it's more like a game drawing, like it's using a graphics drawing one where we're laying all that out on our own, as a picture. So it was a different approach. We don't, we're not using latex or whatever. But if we had used any of those things, we would have been very limited in the formatting and the spacing. And so in order to have all that control, that was the way, the way we needed to do it. So it has, a few drawbacks, here and there, but it's what makes it possible to be able to, draw problems anywhere on tops of worksheets. So I appreciate your comment. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, this is a wrap. And thank you again. This has been very informative.
Okay. Hope everyone has a great afternoon.